Hello friend, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Kristen. Welcome to Strolling Through Life and happy 2021. Today I have 10 zero waste tips for 2021. Let's get right into it. The first tip that I wish I knew before going zero waste is that you do not have to be plastic free to consider yourself to be living a zero waste lifestyle. I really wish I knew this. Obviously, reducing as much plastic as you can is super important in this kind of movement. But it's also not up to us to be plastic free, especially when we don't have access to plastic free items. A lot of people don't have bulk sections. A lot of people don't have refill shops that they can just hop into in their city and refill, a bottle of shampoo. That's just not realistic for a lot of people. So don't feel that burden on yourself. So this is my pantry. I don't live alone, so not all of these items are mine. But there's definitely a lot of plastic, especially with the current pandemic. I have not been able to buy anything in bulk since March. So there's a lot of packaged items in here, and that's okay. The second tip is to use what you already have. Of course, buying zero waste swaps makes things a little more convenient sometimes, but overall, the most sustainable thing you can do is to use what you already have. So reuse jars, reuse pasta sauce jars, reuse plastic containers, reuse plastic bags as much as possible. Just reuse, reuse. The third tip is to shop secondhand when you can rather than buying new. Before COVID, I used to go thrift shopping a lot, and I can tell you right now, thrift stores, especially in the US, have an abundance of clothing and furniture and other miscellaneous items. In fact, a lot of this stuff doesn't even get sold, and then it's shipped to other countries, and eventually a lot of these products end up in the landfill. So if you can buy secondhand, that is the best and most sustainable option. But if you're like me and you're not going thrifting right now, you can also buy secondhand items online through a lot of different websites and apps. For example, you can go on like Poshmark, eBay, Mercari, Depop, Vinted. There are a ton of different options out there, and you can find everything. The fourth tip is to reduce food waste and food packaging. So first off, you can reduce food packaging by making your own food. So instead of buying a pre-made hummus, you can make your own. Instead of buying oat milk in milk cartons, you can make your own oat milk. And then for food waste, try to meal plan as much as you can, which is something I definitely need to work on personally. And if you meal plan, you can kind of plan out what you're buying when you go grocery shopping or when you order food to get delivered. You really know exactly what you're getting, and you know none of the food goes to waste. I know personally there have been times where things just sound good to eat and I order it, and then it ends up going bad because I never actually eat it throughout the week or two. So that's something to keep in mind. Also, instead of throwing your food waste into the trash, try to compost if you can. Obviously, there are some people who have it easier than others, like if you have a curbside compost collection program. That makes it a lot easier than composting on your own, but try to find a local compost collection if you can't compost on your own. I know it's definitely harder when you're renting or if you live in an apartment, but a lot of community gardens actually offer compost, so definitely check that out too. The fifth tip is to buy food in more sustainable packaging. We're back next to my pantry. So instead of buying things in plastic, look for things that come in paper, metal, or glass. So I really like glass because it's reusable, so I can refill things later on or even use them as water bottles or put, tea or something else in them. And aluminum cans are great because aluminum is infinitely recyclable, so we love that. Before you buy anything, ask yourself if you really need it or if it really makes you happy. I try to really think of minimalism when I am trying to be an eco-conscious consumer. I wouldn't consider myself to be a minimalist, but what's great about minimalism is you're buying less. And obviously buying less items means you are using less resources, and that reduces your carbon footprint. Being a hyper consumer is not good when you're trying to live a sustainable life. So reducing the amount of purchases you make is always good. The 7th tip is to try to reduce the amount of single-use items you can. Try to reduce all the single-use plastics you can, like straws, single-use utensils, things like that. Try to reduce Kleenex, single-use napkins, paper towels, all of that jazz as much as you can, and find alternatives. So instead of paper towels, you can just use rags and normal towels. Instead of Kleenex, you can get your own hanky. Instead of a plastic straw, you can get a stainless steel or silicone straw. There are plenty of alternatives that are reusable. The 8th tip is to buy eco-consciously if you are buying new. So if you can, try to support eco and sustainable brands. Look to see what their certifications are. Are they a B Corp? Are they a 1% for the planet company? What are their business ethics and morals? You can always check on a company's website and really see how transparent they actually are. And if you can't support an eco brand, try to buy as high quality product as you can and try to make it last for years. And do your research before purchasing anything. So I will typically wait at least a week to really see if I really want the product for myself. And I do the research, I look up reviews, I make sure the product is actually going to be good before I buy the product. And I do want to say, I know that buying from sustainable brands is definitely a privilege. I know sustainable brands and sustainable products do cost more, and that is because they are not mass produced. But again, shopping secondhand is such a great way to shop. It's super sustainable, it's better than buying new, and it's more affordable. So keep that in mind too. Number 8 is to not get caught up in the zero waste aesthetic. You know, online, there's definitely a certain look to zero waste influencers and just how zero waste is portrayed on the internet, and I don't think that's realistic for a lot of people. Like the whole glass only pantry, yeah, that's not my pantry. So it's just unrealistic, especially right now, to have any sort of like zero waste aesthetic. Like it's impossible. And the 10th tip is to do what you can, because zero waste is not going to solve the climate crisis. Zero waste is amazing and it helps in so many ways, especially if we are asking big brands to be more sustainable with their packaging and to be more transparent about their business practices. But ultimately, there's gonna be a lot more work outside of living zero waste that has to be done in order to help our current climate crisis. There's a lot and it can be very overwhelming, but ultimately you don't have to be zero waste to live sustainably at all. Make sure to check out my last video where I show the 12 best zero waste swaps for 2021. If you haven't subscribed, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give me a thumbs up if you liked this video. Let me know of any other tips you have for zero waste in 2021. And just remember, you do not have to be perfect to live sustainably. I will see you in my next video. Bye!